listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Tomo, you magnificent bastard, I read your book. I drink your milkshake.
How dare you?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Captain.
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 Captain. Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain. Captain.
Captain. Captain.
No, not yet. Not yet. Don't pass out on me yet. Of course you realize this means war.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, always spell it with a K, a mere 2 miles east of the locus of evil on the entire left coast, the Bill Mill, the belly of the beast, the Capitol building in downtown Sacramento at 10th and Elm Reed Square. Late at night, you can hear the death of common sense and its concomitant wail as it wafts from that petrifying edifice. And late at night, when I exit the plush, resplendent, sumptuous, palatial, and effulgently bulbous SHR Media Studios, I'll be smelling the odoriferous stench of sulfur, brimstone, and evil emanating from that mentally destitute column structure aforementioned. It is 2020. The time is nigh. The epic is now. The leftist madness is afoot, and the criticality is imperative. There is no law, no rule, no tradition, no fact, no history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, intent, tradition, no bit of normality. The Democrats, leftists, and the American media maggots won't break, kill, slice, mutilate, bury, eliminate, ignore, butcher, threaten, explode, incinerate, throttle, or expunge in order to wrest the reins of power and keep America subjugated in perpetuity for unicorns and fairy farts. And make no mistake, 2020 isn't truly about Democrats or Republicans. It's instead about the fight against socialism and ultimately communist systems. Systems responsible for the death of at least 100 million people in just the last 100 years. We stand to lose this country, not from without, but from the enemies within, due to the keening and purposefully cultivated ignorance of the masses. No less than our U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights, our very freedoms and liberties are at stake, and I won't stand by and watch this nation devolve and its values, mores, and morals be cavalierly subsumed by those with no interest or care in her success. So make no mistake, this nation is at a tipping point, because when we fail, the rest of the world follows suit. And when freedom and liberty can no longer be found in the United States, what nation exists to step up? So tonight, in the saloon, welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. For the first hour, we're going to have Jeffrey Gonzalez from the Paranormal Central. In the second hour, we're going to have a new Trump campaign ad. And 6 minutes of edification from Dr. Robert Epstein. No, not that guy. Some guy that's way, way different. And he's going to tell you about the criticality of social media and what you can expect from them right now, By the way, I just got my ass kicked off Facebook. And for those of you who are wondering or trying to get onto Facebook right now, I don't know if this is the result of it, but I got my ass kicked to the curb by Facebook on Sunday. And they said they released me today at 7 o'clock, so I checked and I was released, and now Facebook won't let me go on the air. So I'm thinking that maybe that has something to do with my not being able to stream on Facebook tonight. Not real happy about that, as you might expect. But in any event, tonight we have the unique pleasure of introducing an individual into the saloon who I have personally met before. I used to call into his show, and I still watch his show regularly. I'm talking about Jeffrey Gonzalez, who created the Sanger Paranormal Society and now hosts Paranormal Central. Jeffrey Gonzalez, thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate your time, and thank you for being here, sir. Okay. Jeffrey, are you there, sir? You know, the phrase, when it rains, it pours, should be applicable right now, because I've got everything going for me. I've got the phone on. I heard him before. Now I can't hear him. Jeffrey, if you can hear me, can you call me right back, please? I see your number displayed right here, but can you call me back? Thank you. Okay, call ended. We're going to wait for Jeff to call back. In the meantime, as I indicated, Facebook kicked me off. Here we go. Let's try that. Jeff, are you there, sir?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Now you're coming through 5x5. Great. Well, in any event, that was the intro. You are here. Folks, you're talking and listening to Jeffrey Gonzalez. He created the Sanger Paranormal Society, and he now hosts Paranormal Central. So, again, thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
I am not a stranger to the paranormal. I've been interested in it for some time, and I regaled my tale here before. I had a UFO sighting, and I had one just this past March, which I may or may not have time to tell here. And a sighting of what I thought was a young Sasquatch last year. Ooh. But before we get going, can you tell us, Jeffrey Gonzalez, a little bit about yourself? You live in the Fresno area now, but is that where you grew up?
I grew up here, a little town southwest or southeast of Fresno called Sanger, obviously, hence the name Sanger Paranormal Society.
Okay.
Grew up, born, raised here. Right after high school, I went to Los Angeles, went to college down there, got my degree in electronics, and I decided to stay there until about 2000, and I moved back to Fresno, got a job with the phone company, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. Can you recall the very first time, it's very distinct with me, can you recall the very first time you became interested in the paranormal or the unexplained? Did you have some kind of say a personal experience or an encounter at what age?
I'm thinking about third grade in Sanger. I was outside the backyard. I remembered, just like it was yesterday, third grade, playing on the swing set in the backyard, blue sky, summer day, and it was my younger sister, and my neighbor, and I looked up and I saw what looked to be an aluminum can with lights around it floating in the sky. I knew that thing shouldn't have been there. Scared the crap out of me. I grabbed my sister, and we ran inside. I told my neighbor to run back to her house, and we ran into my house and then closed the sliding door. And I remember I got underneath the kitchen table, man, and I was scared out of my mind because I knew that thing was not supposed to be in the sky. I knew it. And ever since then, man, I was hooked. Back then it was the show of all shows on TV, In Search of, and with Leonard Nimoy.
Right.
And, I started watching that, and then there's Kolchak the Night Stalker. With obviously, if you're my age and you remember, obviously those two shows. But yeah, I mean, ever since then, I've been a fan of the paranormal, man. And it goes, and paranormal, you know, when you say paranormal, that consists of everything under the realm of supernatural and religion and conspiracy and monsters and flying objects, everything.
It's unlimited. It can be anything. Now, when you saw that at the age of 3, in retrospect, you described it as a tin can. In retrospect, what do you think it was?
I have no idea, but I was in third grade, so I was probably, I don't know how old you're in third grade, like 9 years old, I guess.
Okay.
10, yeah. No, you know what? I don't know. I didn't know anything about flying saucers back then, but to me, it looked like a large aluminum can with lights around it, and I had no clue. And I knew it was big, and it shouldn't have been in the sky over our backyard. It shouldn't have. I mean, I'm a pretty bright guy. I have common sense, even though I was a kid back then. I knew that thing was not supposed to be there, and that's what scared the out of me. And to this day, I don't know. I have no clue what it was.
Well, as I indicated, I don't know if you heard it or not. I got kicked off Facebook this past weekend, and Facebook is messing with me. And I'm on YouTube. So, folks, if you want to watch the video stream, go to YouTube. If you want to just listen to it on Spreaker, go to shrmedia.com. A lot of people in the chat room. Welcome to Alaskan Samoan Byron. 5 viewers who haven't logged in yet. Kaiser and a whole bunch of other people. Thanks for being here. But I apologize for Facebook. Facebook is clearly continuing to mess with me. Hey, Jeffrey. Got a question. Has Facebook ever screwed with you?
Yes, absolutely. I remember about, I don't know, I guess I'll remember the first time that I knew that they were messing with me was when I did a show the same night as the Las Vegas shooting occurred. All right. Okay. And I went live on Facebook, and I had 5,000 people watching me.
Holy crap.
Yes, I know. I couldn't believe it. And I was freaking the F out. And ever since then, it's been downhill after that. I mean, because I had somebody's mom who was a security guard that night at that shooting.
Okay.
And the mom came on, and the security guard didn't want to come on because he feared for his life. But she said that the security guard, her son, saw guys walk in through the back gate with ARs and start opening fire on people. And it's like, to get that from firsthand. And I think after that, everything went downhill for me after that. I mean, people now, they say that when I go live, they can't even find my wall, my Facebook wall. They say, Jeff, I can't find you. I go, what do you mean you can't find me? You type in Jeffrey Gonzalez or Paranormal Central. You go, you're not there. I go, what are you talking about? And even on YouTube, man, people keep losing. It's like I'm defriending people on YouTube. I'm going, no, I'm not, defriending anybody. They go, well, I'm not subscribed anymore. I'm going, well, I didn't do it. And they're not getting alerts. And on Facebook, like I said, just recently on Facebook, they cannot find my wall. They can't. Like, I didn't block them.
At home, even my wife and I have trouble finding you. We want to throw you up on the big screen TV, and you can do that if you know how. You go to the Facebook app and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, right.
So we'll go there. Sometimes we can pick you up. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes it's streaming live. Sometimes it isn't. So we got to go back to her tablet. So you first noticed it when you were making revelations about the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, that Stephen Paddock dude in October, whatever the heck it was. Right. The guy who killed, I think he killed 58 people. He wounded over 400 people. And you apparently had some insight that perhaps ought not to have gotten out.
Right.
Evidently.
Right. It was just by the word of mouth. And somebody texted me, said, hey, I happen to know actually one of the security guards there, but he won't talk to you, but you could probably have his mom talk to you. And I said, well, great, let's get him on. And after that, it's been downhill after that. I mean, it's like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk about shooters on the ground. Maybe a couple, but as far as firsthand, it's like I was just blown away. And, it's just by luck that I was able to get the mom on. But yeah, I mean, I've had so many problems now, even with YouTube and Facebook. And it's just my numbers are going down. I can't do anything about it. I mean, it's just that that's just the man playing with us, man. I mean,
I have 8 questions. Folks, we're talking to Jeffrey Gonzalez. He's the owner and started the Sanger Paranormal Society, and then now has his own TV show, Paranormal Central. Oh, before I forget, Jeff Gonzalez, tell people where they can find your show or find you on social media and when you're on. Tell people about that, please.
Okay, well, I have a like page, Paranormal Central, and I have my personal page, which is Jeffrey Gonzalez, and I think I'm close to almost 5,000 friends, so I got 2 more to go. Usually I go in and I try to clean up people that have, pretty much discontinued their Facebook wall, and I'll take them off and bring other people in. But, I've had a show on TV for a while. I've been on the Travel Channel, Discovery Channel. I've been on Fox Network. It's been about, I've been doing this for 15 years. And I've actually, people don't believe in the stuff that I go and investigate. But, man, let me tell you, I've come across some crazy stuff, and we've got proof. Alan Thomas. Now, Alan Thomas has been on the show a lot, and, him and I, we've been at this for so many years now. And, it's people cannot believe the stuff that we come across, and we have stuff to show people. And that's one thing that separates us from these reality shows on TV, like Finding Bigfoot or any of these other shows. It's like, did you see that or did you hear that? Well, you know what? On our side, we're going to show you what we have or let you hear it because we know where to go, man. I mean, it's crazy stuff. And a lot of people don't like that. That networks don't like that. People in the government don't like that. And I think that's why they're messing with us really hard because they don't want me to show people the truth. Just like you, we're out there to do one thing and to show and tell people what's really happening in this world. And when you have solid evidence, they don't want that out. They absolutely don't want that out. So they're going to do everything in their power to do whatever to persuade other people not to see your show.
I have literally, Jeffrey Gonzalez, I have literally 8 pages of questions to ask you, and I want to try to take everybody on a journey to the point where I know I'm not going to get to all of it. So the bottom of the hour break, if you folks were expecting it, no, I don't have time for that. I want to get directly to some questions with Jeff. So I'm going to kind of lead Jeff in a direction and then hit with sort of the ultimate question of it all at the end. So folks, roll with me. We're on a journey together with Jeffrey Gonzalez. Jeffrey Gonzalez, what made you want to create the Sanger Paranormal Society and then Paranormal Central?
I am a big nerd. There it is.
Well, you're an electronics guy. So here,
I am.
Let me do this. I have to do this right now because I comment to my wife, who is a Jeffrey Gonzalez fan herself. I think that you have, which is another reason that you need to watch his show, folks. I think you have one of the most clean, crisp, uncluttered, elegant studios that I've seen for a show, and your electronics, how you make things work, it's clean, it's crisp. You don't have a lot of stuff in a studio. Like I've got an Arrakis board over here and a bunch of junk all over the place. You have your act together, and I just have to give you the compliment in terms of doing a show, trying to get it all together. You most definitely, Jeffrey Gonzalez, have your act together.
It has taken me years, BZ, to do this. I mean, when people see my show, they think, oh my God, he did it overnight. It's taken me 15 freaking years to get me to this point. And, I'm glad that I know electronics. I know sound. I'm into music. I'm into sound. So I'm able to take all that and to put it into the show. I used to do lights back in the day, and I was in the music business for a while, and I used to do lights for bands on the road. And so I was able to take that as well and bring it into the show. But thank you very much. I feel that if I'm going to do a show, I want to entertain people. It's all about, talking and showing them stuff, but it's all about entertainment, man. I got to keep the people entertained.
It is. The bottom line is this: you have a very professional presentation, and I just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So let's hit your show for a second. I wanted to mention this. I had no idea. You play keyboards on your show, which I think is a really enjoyable bonus. It's like you start this perfect ambiance and background for your program. So you obviously know what you're doing on keyboards. We know that you're astute in terms of electronics. What's your music background? Because clearly you've got one. You have probably, 6 keyboards that you play in that aspect, in that part of the set. You know what you're doing. It's pretty clear.
I was in bands. When I went to Los Angeles to go to college, and after I got my degree, I started getting involved in music. And I played a little piano here and there, and I became involved in a couple of bands, and we did shows all around Los Angeles and California, I want, like I said, I want to create an ambiance for the show. And I told myself, man, the only way I'm going to be able to do it is if I do it myself. I can go and, get songs and get music from other people, but it's not the same thing. And so I perform it live. The intro, I perform it live. And you have to understand, it's only me, myself, and I in that studio. I don't have directors or producers or anybody else. It's just me.
Right.
So I'm back at the keyboards, I'm performing. I got my switcher on the iPad right next to me. I switch it. I walk over to the desk. I sit down. I bring down the music on the mixer, and I start the show. But like I said, it's taken me years to get to this point. I still don't. I'm still not where I want to be. Obviously, I want to be on TV. We just shot another pilot for TV, and it's getting edited right now. And that's where I want to go with this. I want to take it to mainstream, and I'm hoping I can do that because I've already been on mainstream in a couple of networks here in the California area, and I think I have a good shot. But it's all about presentation, and if you can see it, then I'm hoping everybody else can see it as well. And it doesn't run as smoothly as I would like to, but hey, I'm giving it all I can. And people appreciate it.
For a one-man shindig, I think you're doing a hell of a job. Just like me, I'm a little fat guy sitting in a dark room, doing it all myself, no producer, blah, blah, blah. I think you have a hell of a professional presentation. Jeffrey Gonzalez, I first met you along with Alan Thomas at the 2012 UFO-Con in Sacramento at the Crown Plaza Hotel. And you guys, this impressed the crap out of me, especially in retrospect, thinking about it. You guys somehow managed to haul your entire studio from Fresno. Folks that don't know, Fresno to Sacramento, which is where the UFO-Con was in 2012, Fresno to Sacramento is easily a 4-hour drive. So then...
2.5 hours. 2.5 hours.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you must have been going like... Anyway, that's a story for another day. So you guys set that all up in... So it's like... If you've seen the show, folks, imagine that you fold up a show, put it in the back of a trailer or a truck or wherever you carried it, and then set it up, do a show for about an hour, and then have to take it down all over again. And so I started to follow you after that when you were doing a live show there at the UFO-Con. And then I started to follow you, and then I called you a couple of times. We discussed law enforcement officers. I was a cop for 41 years. I used to call you, I was the Oath Keeper guy that used to call in.
Right. Oh, yeah. I remember.
And even back then in 2012, folks, Jeffrey Gonzalez, you were an advocate of being prepared for calamities, and that's also where we're going. Before we get into some more of the questions, as an aside, now you mentioned evidence, you mentioned proof, and you have something incredibly important that I want to clue a lot of folks into. So if briefly we could go into, can you, and I saw it, folks.
Oh, that's right over there.
Saw it. I know what he's talking about. Jeff, can you tell people about the evidence that you have on glass with regard to Sasquatch? I saw it with my own eyes.
The windows. God, when did this happen? 2011, I believe. Well, to make a long story short, we live in Fresno, California. Just east of us, we have the Sierra National Forest.
Right.
Okay, and lo and behold, about 13 years ago, I came in contact with a gentleman here in Fresno who happens to be a high school principal. He's been investigating Bigfoot for 25 years. Somebody introduced me to him, and we became friends. And after that, he started taking me up to this spot up in the mountains, about 7,000 feet elevation. And every time we go there, stuff happens. Every single time, it's just incredible. And we've heard these things up there. They come around our campsite. One of the first times that I was there, David Ragosa is the gentleman I'm talking about. We set up cameras, and he got this Bigfoot walking up a hill, and we got it, and that's on my website. And so one day, Memorial Day weekend, and I'm thinking 2011, we were up, and we go up there as many times as we can. But for some reason, Memorial Day weekend is the day that we know something will happen. I don't know why, BZ, but it's always that's the case. And that weekend, we went up, and we went in 3 trucks, and it started to snow. It was a Sunday morning, and it started to snow, and it's like, oh crap! 2 of our trucks don't have 4x4, and the other one does. And one of our vehicles did not start. My truck, I had an F-150 pickup, and it was only 2-wheel drive, and the wheel started to spin. I had to leave my truck up there. And plus David Ragosa's Jeep broke down. So we all had to come back in one vehicle. So we left all of our stuff up there, guy, in the middle of freaking nowhere. Yeah. And and let me tell you, talking about scary, because I had all my electronics in there, my laptop, computer. And again, I'm gonna try to shorten this down, but we went back up to retrieve our vehicles, and we get to the spot. And before we get to the spot, though, there are barricades placed on the dirt road before we get to the campsite. And you have to understand, this campsite is not just a regular campsite. You have to take a dirt road from a dirt road and a dirt road to another dirt road, and you're there, okay? And, when we left, these trees and these barricades weren't on the dirt road when we left. But when we arrived, somebody placed these things in the dirt road to prevent either somebody coming in or to prevent from somebody going out. And there was 4 of them. And the last barricade was this 14-foot long tree with a circumference of about 15 inches. It probably weighed a ton. And it was lifted from the side and placed in the middle. And I'm going, what the hell? How did that get from point A to point B? And it was up a hill, BZ. It was crazy. Like, how did that get from there to there? So as we're coming in to get our vehicles, 4 of us guys had to get on our knees to push this tree out of the road. Like, that's how heavy it was. And the other guys are looking at me, and I'm going, what the frack? So we get to the spot, and I'm walking in, and I look at the driver's side of my windows of my truck. I have a 4-door, and I notice what seems to be smears on the glass windows of the driver's side window and the passenger side window. And as I'm getting closer, the back window all of a sudden is staring at me. And it looks like a freaking face. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I yell at Ellen. And actually, I yell at Jimmy. Jimmy is Ellen's brother, because he came down with me the couple of nights before to make sure the trucks were okay. And this wasn't on there. And I go, Jimmy, come here. And I go, dude, was this here the other day? We go, no. And then everybody started coming around, and they're looking at this, and they're going, what the heck? And you have to understand, I had everything in the back of my truck. I had 4 ice chests full of food still, of meat, vegetables. I mean, everything you can imagine of 5 guys taking up. And we took everything but the kitchen sink when it comes to food, right? So everybody was saying it was a bear. I'm going, how could it be a bear? There's so much food left in these ice chests. Nothing was touched. And then, so it was crazy. What was left on the front window looked like something put its face on the window, like it was looking in. And as it pulled away, it left the nostrils and the lips, and it had knuckles because it left the prints of the knuckles right below the window. And, you know, it's like everybody was like, oh, my God. And I took videos at the time. I took pictures. I have it on, YouTube. And we're going, this is unbelievable. And so, I had to drive my truck out. And, these smears of what I call evidence is still on the windows. So, I drive out and I drive back home with all this on the windows. And on the way down, I'm going, what am I going to do about what I have on these windows? So I call my buddy, Mickey Burrow, who happens to be the forensic police officer for the Fresno PD, 16 years. And I call him. I said, dude, I go, and I tell him what I have. And he starts laughing at me. Because, he's a science guy. He doesn't believe. He goes, you out of your freaking mind, Jeff. I go, dude, I'm serious. This is what I have in my window. He goes, shut up. I go, can you please come over here and bring your whatever you have and take pictures and analyze it and measure it and all that. And I hear him, on the phone. He goes, are you serious? I'm going, yes, I'm totally serious. So I wanted him to come that same night, but he had a murder investigation to go to. So I was like, damn. So the following day, he came out to my place of business where I work, and he gets out with brings his tackle box, and he's looking at the windows, and he's looking at me, and he's looking at the windows, and he's looking at me, and he goes, are you serious? I'm all, look. And so he gets his camera out and he starts taking pictures. He puts on some rubber gloves and he puts like a measuring tape on the front and on the back, and he's measuring everything. And he's looking at the front window though, and he's analyzing the front window really good. At first, I don't see anything on the front window. I just see a bunch of smears. But he goes, dude, you know what you have here? I go, what are you talking about? He goes, these are lips. And this thing coming down here? He goes, that looks like it's snot. I'm like, what? So he got into his tackle box and got some Q-tips that were in test tubes, right? And he swabbed the mucus, what I didn't see at first, but now I'm going, holy crap.
Right, for DNA.
And I had no clue. And he started measuring the lips, and he goes, these lips are freaking 8 inches big, and the nostrils are 6 inches. And I'm trying to analyze that in my brain. I'm going, if those are 8-inch lips, that means the head is probably 2 feet, 1.5 feet, 2 feet. I'm going, holy crap. And so he goes home that night. He gave me the test tubes, and he goes home that night and he texts me. He goes, Jeff, and he goes, man, that's got me totally. He was totally tripping out. So he goes, I'm going to see if I can figure out what left those prints. I'm going, okay, go for it. So the following day, he called me, said, we need to meet. And then what he did is he mocked up 3 animals that he thought if there's going to be any type of animals up there, there's going to be a cow. A mountain lion, a bear, and then for the hell of it, he picked a gorilla. So he tried to analyze the lips and the nostrils and all that to compare it to a mountain lion, which failed, to a bear, which failed. Then he brought up the mock of the face of the gorilla, and it matched 100% of a gorilla's face. And he looked at me, goes, Jeff, so I didn't believe in Bigfoot, but you made a believer out of me. He goes, I can take this into a court of law, and I can prove without a doubt that a gorilla made those prints. I'm going, how? How could you do that? And he goes, you see the ridges on the lips? Because if you guys were to fake this, you would have never known to put those ridges in the lips. Because pretend that you put a woman puts lipstick and she goes to kiss on the window, right? That's what left on that's what was left on the front window, a perfect smack of lips. And he goes, dude, I mean, there's no doubt that something with a gorilla's face left that on your window. So after that happened, I made world news. I mean, it was all over the place. I even had Ripley's Believe It or Not call me, and they wanted by the rights. And I said, hell no. They were going to give me They were going to give me $25 for a picture of the rights for a picture. And
no.
I said, bite me.
Yeah. No way.
So, no way. And I made world news. I was literally world news on that one. And then I got in touch. Monsters and Mysteries on the Destination America channel called me, and they wanted to do an episode on the whole ordeal. I said, okay, sounds good. And they did. And they actually did a pretty damn good job. And for those who probably have seen it, then it's the windows of my truck on Monsters and Mysteries. And they've showed that over and over and over again on the History Channel, on Destination America Channel. But yeah, that right there probably put me on the map, no doubt.
As I said in chat, I said, I'm telling you, if folks, if you were to see this, and it's hard, Jeffrey Gonzalez, isn't it hard to capture that thing on film? I mean, you really have to see this thing, and you can clearly see that it's not just a human-size head. You can clearly, the nostrils are delineated. You can see lips. You can see snot and or drool on this thing. And I'm telling you, having spent 41 years in law enforcement, you can't replicate that. The only thing that would do that is something like that pressed up against the glass, period, end of statement. That's evidence that it's perfect, and nobody can take that away from you.
Right. It is. And, when we broke the news and put that out there, people in the Bigfoot community wanted to completely shut us down because, people have been looking for Sasquatch or Bigfoot, however way you want to describe them, for years and years and years, and nobody has ever gotten anything like this at all. And people were saying, "Oh, it's just somebody who pressed his face on there, homeless person." No, come on now. There's just absolutely no way.
No, if you look at the totality of what you see in front of you, like I say, it doesn't translate well to photographs, but in front of your face, as I saw it, you will believe. Period. End of statement. Now, Jeffrey Gonzalez, you're talking more about things that I'd never heard about before. To me, this is new. You've been talking about, so you've been doing paranormal, and then you start to move over into things called, you referenced somebody called Q, and then you referenced something called adrenochrome. Right. I'm not familiar with this territory. Tell us who or what you think Q is and why that's important.
Q came into the spotlight, I believe it was October of 2017. And he started, or they started, whoever started. Nobody knows exactly who Q is. But I think, and, going past Q, our world is run by a organization. And like I said, I talk about different subjects on the show, conspiracy theories, the New World Order, Illuminati, and all that.
Right.
I've pretty much come to my senses to pretty much convince myself to say that this world is run by a New World Order, the deep state, however way you want to call them. It's all the same thing, Illuminati, New World Order, whatever. And they've been running this world since probably the beginning of time. I mean, we're talking the 1700s, 1600s, the bloodlines. It goes back, way back. And I have been noticing over the years, probably 5 or 6 years, 7 years, that I've been catching things on TV. I've been catching things in our government. It was bugging the what out of me, and I started investigating. And when Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, became president of the United States in 2016, the world changed. You saw the governments of other worlds. You saw our government here in America go after this man.
Yes.
With a vengeance. with a freaking vengeance. I've never seen a group of people go after an individual like they have done to this day. And I'm going, why are they going after him? What is going on here? And it looks like that the deep state, New World Order, Illuminati, however way you want to call them, whatever way you want to call them, somebody has come into office that has decided to change things around. Donald Trump, again, whether you like him or not, is basically tearing the New World Order apart, I believe.
I believe, too. I completely believe it.
And I don't think, and again, people think that our military back in, 2013, 2014, maybe even sooner than that, went to Donald Trump and said, hey, we need somebody to get into office so we can start basically tearing apart this world order, New World Order. And we need somebody who can get into office, who can withstand the shit that these guys are going to throw at you. And so, Donald Trump was not supposed to win the president of the United States. Hillary Clinton was.
It was her turn. It was her turn.
It absolutely was.
As far as they're concerned, he's a pretender to the throne. He's the worst thing that could possibly be in D.C. right now. He's not a politician, and he doesn't give a shit what they think.
That's absolutely correct. Hillary Clinton was supposed to be the president of the United States. Basically, it was supposed to, the throne was supposed to be given to her. I used to be a Bush fan back in the days until I found out what exactly the Bushes are a part of.
Correct.
I didn't know that. And then it looks like they were all placed there. But when Donald Trump decided to run, it was, again, people made fun of him. It was Hollywood that was after him. It was the Democrats, the Republicans, everybody was against him. And it just blew me the way, man. It's like, what is going on with this man? Why are they so afraid of him? And this was before he became president, because they tried everything in their power to not allow him to become the Republican nominee.
Folks, we're talking to Jeffrey Gonzalez, if I can interrupt just for a second. Jeffrey Gonzalez is the owner of the Sanger Paranormal Society, which now he has his own TV show, Paranormal Central. But I want to stop you there just for a second. Jeffrey Gonzalez, my guess was, or let me just ask you plain, were you a Trump guy at the very outset? I wasn't.
I was.
You were? Okay.
I were. Absolutely. I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning with my son, and we were watching the numbers come in, and we were screaming our ass off when he finally won. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
It's because I didn't want Hillary to win.
Okay, I'm talking about the nominations and all the other. There were 17 people that were running, and as he was running, he wasn't as a nominee. Let's say there were 17 other people. As a nominee, he wasn't my guy. Ted Cruz was my guy. But I got dragged kicking and screaming. The more he was assaulted on every level in a continuous and absolutely unrelenting way, the more I decided I'm voting for this guy. And I was going to vote for him for two reasons. Number one, he wasn't Hillary Clinton. Number two, he was going to make some good SCOTUS picks. Other than that, it was all gravy for me.
Right? I saw somebody up there that was sticking up for himself.
Yep.
And that's the way I am. If you're going to come after me, then watch it, because I'm going to hit back 100-fold. And that's just the way I am. Don't criticize me. Don't put me down. Don't accuse me of something unless you have freaking proof. If not, I'm going to come back at you. And I loved it that he did that, because I'm going, that's freaking me. That is me. And people hate that, though. They hate that. To this day, they hate Trump. And you can ask people, why do you hate Trump? Oh, I just hate him.
He's not presidential. Well, he fights back. He doesn't take crap. He's like more people, like you and me. He's a brawler. He's a New York real estate dude. He speaks in completely superfluous. You don't listen to what he says, folks. Watch what he does.
Yeah,
that's what convinced me.
Yeah, the guy's from New York. All right, so when you have somebody from New York and he's up there fighting his battles, then watch it, man. And when he was up at those debates and people were watching him and people were loving it. They were loving it, and that's what I loved about him. And sure, I knew a little bit about Donald Trump, and I didn't really care about his love life, his wives or whatever. If someone's going to come into this country and help out and help the American people, then I'm all for that. But I had no clue he was going to do what he's doing today. And that's and we can go into that, but that's just so. In other words, so I believe Q is a group of people, and from what I understand, I've heard from several sources that Q is between 500 and 800 military personnel that are in this building someplace, and Donald Trump is taking all of his information from them. These are the guys that approached Donald Trump, and again, I don't know, 2012, whatever it was, and asked him to run for president of the United States. And they probably showed him the reason why. And he finally said, all right, let's do it. And that's when he decided to run. He blew a lot of people away. Like, what the hell is this guy doing? But I think there's a bigger plan involved. There's a way bigger plan involved.
I want to wrap up the show with that because GMTA, Great Minds Think Alike, and Jeff Gonzalez, I appreciate your being here.
The hour's already up. Are you serious?
Oh, no. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I've got so many more places to go and questions to ask. Okay. What I wanted to do is say, okay, the reason I asked you about Q is because I wanted to lead you in another direction, in this direction, which is a new direction that you've been taking on your show. You have a really interesting theory on the pandemic, and it's sort of adjunct to the pandemic, and it's why you believe that people have been told to shelter in place. So you think something distinctly different is going on, and part of it involves something known as adrenochrome, which is a material I have never heard of before until I started listening to your show. But then show by show by show, you wrap this up with the pandemic, with sheltering in place, with adrenochrome, with people in Hollywood, with a guy that you interviewed 2 weeks ago who was a boxer who has firsthand experience with this. So if you don't listen carefully, like some of the stuff that I say, you'd think, oh man, BZ is out on like left field out there somewhere. And unless you tie it up together, people could think the same thing of you. But it's such a compelling theory that ties up so many things. I'd like you to try to address that, and I know it can go anywhere and everywhere, but there's something big with adrenochrome and children. And folks, if you haven't heard this before, if you do have children in the room, they probably ought not to listen to this part. If this is true, you'll go 210 over 190, and you'll want a piece of someone's ass when you hear this. Jeff, can you tell us about that?
Donald Trump tweeted in 2012, and I'm trying to remember the tweet verbatim, but it said something to the fact that child traffickers and pedophiles should be given the death penalty. We should go after them. And this was in 2012 when he did this tweet, and it's out there. You can go and I've actually had it on my wall for several times. But Did you know 800,000 children go missing in the United States every year? 800,000.
When you said that was an astounding number, and I went to go check, and it's something that nobody wants you to know about.
It's scary. Now, 800,000 children go missing. I'm going to say that a majority are probably found, are probably runaways, but from what I understand, 50 to 75,000 children are never found, ever. Okay? And you have to wonder, what the hell is going on here? Now, there is a commodity in the world, and I know people are going to hate this, but there are pedophilia, people who are into child trafficking in children, and people who run the world are into this stuff. All right, there's a lot of money to be made on child trafficking. It's as simple as that. Okay, when Donald Trump started, when he came out and said we need to put up the wall on the southern border, the left Democratic they went absolutely nuts, called them racist, and I knew exactly what he was doing. It was not to keep the illegal aliens out; it was to keep our children in. It's to keep the drugs out, to keep the children in. That's what the wall is for. I promise you, it's not to keep the illegal aliens out. It's to keep the drugs out and the children in. The Mexican cartel and a lot of other organizations steal the children and take them out of this country and sell them to other countries, to people, to elites all over the world. Okay? That's one of the reasons why Donald Trump insisted to build the wall ASAP, because now it makes sense. Because what's happening today, all right, when the pandemic hit, if you want to call it a pandemic, I call it a fake pandemic, but it's a virus, okay? I believe it's a virus similar to the flu, maybe a little bit more deadlier. But Donald Trump, this country was doing absolutely outstanding 3 months ago. We were almost going to hit 30,000 on the stock market. Our unemployment was the lowest level at 50 years. Our jobs were increasing 275,000 in February. It was. We were just golden. We were golden. And then all of a sudden, this virus comes out of nowhere. Okay. Now, I think Donald Trump and his administration with the military decided to use this to their benefit. Now, what's weird, BZ, is that Donald Trump is always ahead of everybody. It's like he already knows what's coming. Like he's the art of the deal. The dude is a genius. I mean, I don't care if you like him or not.
In 2016, he was talking about having been wiretapped. And he was prescient. He knew that back then. Okay, he was utilizing the wrong word. It was actually surveillance. But everyone said it's as if you said, Jeff, every time that you listen to him and you discount him at your own disregard, he is prescient, and he's telling us things that we should be listening to. He's been right all along. Yes, he is. And his people are telling him what's going on. The military personnel, the 800, 500 people who are telling him what to do, who are giving him all the information. They know exactly what's going on. Who's doing it? Who has done it? Okay, so it was a matter of time that Donald Trump and his administration
was going to say, okay, that's it. This is all got to stop. And there was a plan in the making probably for a couple of years, probably even before he became president. I think the military wanted to shut down this child trafficking that has been going on for centuries probably. And he even said that on one of his press conferences about the child trafficking that it's been going on since ancient times, and the drugs and all that. You have to pay attention to what he says on his press conferences and when he's talking to the media, because it's giving everybody hints. If you don't know you have to know what you're listening to, and you have to, and the only way you're going to figure it out is you have to listen and watch shows like mine show and your show in order to figure this stuff out. But during this shelter in play, stay in play, whatever it is that you call it,
right?
I think he decided to kick some ass, and the people who are involved in this child trafficking, and it goes a lot worse than that. We're talking rituals, BZ. We're talking the killing of children. We're talking satanic rituals. That's what Hollywood is all about. I'm not saying everybody or every actor, actress in Hollywood is into this stuff, but the big people are. The people who are given millions and millions of dollars for a picture, the big rock stars like Rolling Stones and Aerosmith and Bob Dylan, all these people, Katy Perry, Madonna, all these people are part of an elite club that consist of satanic worshiping of children and the killing of children.
Can I stop you right there just for a second?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to solicit your indulgence, and I'm asking this kindly. I'm not going to go to a break at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm asking because we're in the midst of something that I think is critical. Could you hold over for the next hour?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because some of the things that you're saying, people, let me make this reference. And I don't think you knew this about me. In the 90s, I worked detectives for the Sacramento Sheriff's Department. And I started in theft. First, I worked for the FBI and the U.S. Marshals and another sheriff's department. Then I got into the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. Worked patrol, blah, blah, blah. Went to detectives, worked theft, warrants, robbery, ended up finally in homicide. I also worked child abuse. While I was working child abuse, that's where I came into the realm of what really happens behind closed doors, folks. So when Jeffrey Gonzalez is talking on my show tonight about these things, if you're even remotely thinking that this doesn't happen, it happens. And it's been happening for centuries. And it's been happening in plain sight. For example, Lewis Carroll, massive pedophile. Arthur C. Clarke, science fiction author, designer, and inventor of essentially the satellite, moved from England to Ceylon, which became Sri Lanka, because he could get hot and cold running small young boys there. This has been going on for a long time. I wrote for an anti-pedophile site, and you can still see it now. You can go there now if you have the stomach for it, but don't have anything in your stomach when you read it. And it's true. Go to absolutezerounited.blogspot.com. For whatever reason, it's still up. I don't think anybody's written in that thing since 2013. But it tells you the depraved ends that people will go to that you have no idea or concept that this is occurring now. That's one of the major reasons I wanted to talk to Jeffrey Gonzalez tonight, because it's a concept that I want to hear about, and you'd best not readily dismiss this, because this is happening sub rosa, underneath, literally underneath, and it's happening in front of our faces, and we just either don't see it and or we choose not to see it. Now, tell you what, let me do this here. This is going to be basically the only identifier all night, because this is way too important as far as I'm concerned.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
So we're talking to Jeffrey Gonzalez. He's going to be here for the full show, and again, I appreciate that. I asked Jeffrey Gonzalez about Q. I asked Jeffrey Gonzalez about adrenochrome. On that, then, he began linking up to pedophilia in the United States. Please take it again, Jeffrey. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to emphasize, if you think this doesn't occur, you are so wrong.
All right, well, let's go back to Q just for a moment, because I really didn't tell you what the purpose of Q is. Now, Q, I believe, is a group of people, military professionals, advising Donald Trump of what to do and what is going on out there, all right? And they're giving him, suggestions, and they've been planning this since the very beginning. Now, Q came out in 2017, I believe, October, and he came out on the internet, and he started telling people about what to expect from the Trump administration. And Q started to give hints of what was supposed to come within the following month, within 6 months from now, within a year from now, within 2 years from now. And it's more of a coded message that Q was giving us concerning the politics, concerning the media, concerning just everything that we have been witnessing for the past 3 years. Now, on that, people don't believe in Q. They think Q is just a bunch of hackers having fun with the world, because now the Q is a world phenomenon. Everybody is talking about Q in other countries. I mean, Q has been posting tweets from Germany, from Europe, from just China, from people talking about Q. And it's a worldwide phenomenon now, okay? So as a matter of fact, Facebook and YouTube are now taking down walls and posts that have to do with Q, because, if they're doing that, then Q there must be something to it. If Facebook is now taking down QAnon and Q post and Q walls, and it's crazy, but they're doing it. So at this point, Q is telling us what's coming. Q has been giving us hints, and with those hints, people have been analyzing these hints, and they've been trying to figure out what is Q talking about. And for the past 3 years, we have been on a roller coaster ride, basically getting us excited, and I believe excited for what's going to happen within probably the next month, probably this week. It's something that I have been waiting a lifetime for, and that is the takedown of the New World Order. And who is the New World Order? The Deep State, Illuminati. People that we have been voting for, people that we have been watching on TV, people that we have been going to concerts and listening to their music for years and years and years. And they are people that people worship, that they go to, when they put out a movie, they'll go and watch every single movie or buy every single CD. This goes for politicians as well. These people are at the top. These people have been in where they're at for years and years and years. And you wonder, why are they still there? Why do they have so much power? You can't vote them out. What's going on here? And with that said, then you have to now go back to what has been happening over the past century. Okay, you can read it. People have been writing about this stuff, but people refuse to listen. They refuse to even pay attention because they think it's absolutely bullshit. You see it on TV. They write movies about it. Okay, artists to this day write songs about it, and what I'm talking about is songs about Illuminati, the New World Order, Satan. It's all there if you just watch what they put up in music videos, in halftime shows at the Super Bowl. It's all there. They're trying to condition us. They're trying to sway us to go over to the dark side. People don't believe in evil. People don't believe in the devil and Satan. You can believe whatever you want, but if these people worship an evil and they call it Satan or the devil, then there's got to be something to it. I was brought up Catholic. Okay, I went to catechism. I went to church every Sunday with my parents. I believe in God. I'm a God-fearing man, dude. All right, simple as that. And I believe there's good, but without good there has to be evil. So there's good and evil. All right, and there's been wars since the very beginning with good and evil. Except the evil, we just couldn't see it. It was right in front of us, but we couldn't see it. But for some reason now, people are starting to open their eyes and see the evil. And I think it's because people like me and people on these other type of shows are showing them bits and pieces of what's happening behind the scenes, and they're looking at that and they're going, "Oh my God!" And they're freaking out because they've been looking at certain shows or certain movies, following certain artists, but they just never figured it out until you put it right in front of them. I mean, it's always been in front of them, but for some reason now the shade is being pulled from their eyes, and people are now seeing the truth, man. And that's what's happening right now. But they need help. They need help to actually visualize what's really happening. And lucky for me, I have been following this for the past 10 years. I have been talking about Hollywood and satanic worshiping and all of this since almost maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. I've been doing the show longer than that, but on the internet show, I started bringing that forward to my show, and it consists of satanic worshiping. I mean, we're talking the killing of children, but then you have to step back and say, why are they killing the children? That doesn't make any sense. Well, these people get a kick out of it. They get a kick out of killing children, of watching them suffer. Now, for centuries and centuries, and this has just became news to me that, and I don't know where this came from, but supposedly, and again, this is going to sound horrible, but I've talked about this on my show, and people now understand what it's all about. But if you don't want to hear this, then I would shut your ears. But
it's tough to hear. It is tough to hear.
It's tough to hear. When you torture a child and you are torturing them to the point of death, the adrenaline that runs through their bodies in the blood, when it is siphoned out of their body at that point in time of the torture and the frightened, however frightened the child is, the adrenaline and the blood mixed together is a drug. And this drug has been in existence for centuries. And the powerful, the elite, the people who are on the dark side drink this blood. And it so happens that this blood, with the adrenaline running through it, gives you a high that no other drug has ever given you. If you have taken drugs, then this drug is just ecstasy upon ecstasy. But not only that, it supposedly keeps you young. All right? And I don't know how, but supposedly it keeps you young. And for centuries, people have been drinking this blood from children after they have been tortured and killed.
Jeffrey Gonzalez, can I make a reference here at this point?
Yes.
And you made a reference, which is why I went to go see this video. In the chat room, by the way, folks, if you have the stomach for it, as I indicated, go to absolutezerounited.blogspot.com. That's the blog, the anti-pedophile blog that I wrote for in the 90s, and I got sued for because I was writing the truth at the time I was working in child abuse. Jeffrey Gonzalez from Paranormal Central, you made reference to a video that I subsequently watched, I think it was early last week or maybe a week and a half ago, called Out of Shadows. You can see it, I believe, on YouTube. And it talks about Pizzagate. It talks about John Podesta. It talks about all make and manner of people that are involved in Hollywood and a lot of people in adjunct Hollywood. It talks about an actual journalist named Liz Crokin, Crokin, who discovered the truth about Pizzagate. Go watch that documentary. It's about an hour and a half or so, hour and 15, something like that. It's still on YouTube. Don't know how that happened. Out of Shadows. Still on YouTube. And then come back to my show or to Jeff's show with that knowledge and then begin to try to understand how this all wraps up. There are photographs that are real of John Podesta, a lot of other people. It was discovered from, of all places, a guy that was a stuntman in Hollywood. Go see that video. Go watch Out of Shadows, and then let me know what you think. It just, sorry to interrupt, Jeff, but it just popped into my brain housing group, and it was tied.
Yeah, it's when I saw that video, I've been talking about everything that was in that documentary since I started doing this 7 or 8 years ago. Every single thing they said, I have already talked about. What's even more impressive is that Q, 3 weeks ago, mentioned something about spirit cooking.
And, right. Yes.
Okay. And that right there threw me for a loop because I want to say I was probably one of the first talk show hosts to even bring up spirit cooking and show pictures on my show because I can. I'm an internet show, so I can show these pictures. And there's clubs in Hollywood where there's this one lady, and her name is Marina Abramovic. And she is like, I'm going to say she's head evil witch. And she puts on these parties and clubs in Hollywood where all of these elite actors go and they pretend to eat people, and and the things that the videos that she has, it's just very uneasy, and all of the elite people that if you go watch the documentary Out of Shadows, they involve themselves with her. Well, God, where do I even go from here? It's like so.
Well, here's some examples. Let me point this out. You just mentioned spirit cooking. So I go to Google, okay? Go to your favorite search engine. I just happen to go to Google. Spirit cooking, and I enter that. The first thing that comes up is Spirit Cooking, song by Casey Spooner and Marina Abramovic, available on Apple Music. And then there's artnet.com. Some believe Marina Abramovic is the ringleader of a global Satanist cult. NewYorkMag.com. Spirit Cooking Explained. Satanic ritual or just a fun dinner? I'm sure that's just a fun dinner. Isn't it, Jeffrey Gonzalez? Just a fun dinner.
I believe, I think about a month ago, if you were to type in spirit cooking into Google, none of this would come up.
I believe
because
you.
Everything was taken out. But because of what's happening right now with the war going on against the deep state, I believe a lot of the white hats are now taking over the internet. Supposedly Google, there was a switch that when you typed in Hillary Clinton and emails or Hillary Clinton and child trafficking in Haiti, none of that would come up. But now everything is coming up.
Here's another interesting point that I just did. Folks, if you don't know what it is, go to your favorite search engine, in this case, Google. Go in there and enter the 2 words spirit cooking. And then when it first comes up, you'll see all the stuff that I just saw under all, okay, under the header. Now that you've brought it up, go to images. Click on images. Start scrolling through those images. Start looking and analyzing at each one of those images. Now you tell me, folks, if you think that's good, clean fun for a dinner. Just invite all your friends and neighbors over for a little spirit cooking. Look at the images. I'm not kidding. And when you do, probably ought not to have a kid standing behind you. Hashtag just saying. It's there. It's in plain sight.
Now it is.
Now it is.
It wasn't before. And I think the good guys are taking control of now what's happening. A lot of people are losing their job, meaning heads of companies, there's a lot of people who are owners of major corporations, presidents. They're all resigning. They're all like leaving. It's just out of nowhere for the past year. It's like somebody's cleaning house. All right. Now let's go back to Hollywood. There are a lot of people in Hollywood that are into this stuff. People that you would have never guessed in a million years. People who are into this drug adrenochrome. People who have gone to these rituals and have actually partaked in the killing of children. All right. If you are taking this drug, adrenochrome, knowing where it comes from, then you are guilty of murder. Because where this drug comes from is from a living soul. And after the drug is taken from this living soul, that living soul is no longer with us. So therefore, if you partake in this adrenochrome drug, which a lot of people are, then I consider it to be a murderer. So with that being said, right now, if you mentioned the guest that I had on my show a couple of weeks ago, David Rodriguez, the boxer.
Yep, that's him.
Okay. He about 3 weeks ago, he decided to do a quick 10-minute video in the back porch of his house, back patio, basically coming out and say, because of where he's at in Hollywood, he knows a lot of people. He's been around the block. He's partied with the elites. He knows Oprah. He knows all the bigwigs. People in Hollywood who are not involved in this have told him that the military Trump administration are cleaning up Hollywood, meaning they are arresting the people involved in all of this. Because right now, of the shelter in what is it? Shelter and stay in shelter.
Shelter in place.
That's shelter in place. Now is the perfect time because we know where everybody's at. You cannot go to work. the schools are shut down, the sports arenas are shut down, no baseball, no basketball, the malls are shut down. Everybody is at home. So with that being in play, the Trump administration, police, FBI, DOJ, CIA, they can now go and start picking up all of these people who were involved in this. 2 weeks ago, President Trump came out with a couple of his generals at the press conference.
I remember that.
And said, we are in the Atlantic on the East Coast with, what was it, 22 other countries or 12 other countries, and we are going after the cartel and the drugs. And I went, what the hell did he just say?
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure the first thing you were thinking is, that came out of left field. I didn't see that coming.
Exactly. Like, where did that come from? And he specifically said the cartel. Oh, and he said human trafficking. He said human trafficking. When he said human trafficking, I let out a freaking roar. I went, yeah! Because everything that I have been saying, it's coming true. Is that's exactly what he's doing. Is he's shutting down the human trafficking, the child, the pedophilia, the drugs. When he said the cartel and the drugs, I knew he wasn't talking about meth or cocaine. He was talking about adrenochrome, because he even mentioned on that particular press conference that this human trafficking has been going on for thousands of years. And I heard that come out of his mouth. I went, holy shit, you got to be shitting me. Sorry for saying that.
But that's okay. I say it all the time here.
Okay. But it's like, he's telling us in code, you have to know what to listen for. And if you've been watching me, then you know exactly what he's trying to tell everybody, that he's putting a stop to all of this. He's stopping it. And I always said, when he became president, what came out of Hillary's mouth, I believe the night she conceded into the president, she said, and I think she said it to Donna Brazil, she goes, either you fix this shit or we're all going to hang by nooses. And
I can remember that quote.
Okay, yeah.
I have since found that press conference. And folks, I want you to hear what Jeff is referring to. This was astounding. This is about 2 minutes. When the general gets up there, listen.
So on the coronavirus, there's a growing threat that cartels, criminals, terrorists, and other malign actors will try to exploit the situation for their own gain. And we must not let that happen. We will never let that happen.
We're at war with COVID-19. We're at war with terrorists. And we are at war with the drug cartels as well.
This is General Mark Milley, Milley.
This is the United States military. You will not penetrate this country. You will not get past Jump Street. You're not going to come in here and kill additional Americans.
For the Department of Justice, one of our highest priorities must remain destroying the Mexican cartels.
What has changed that is allowing these assets to be deployed now, whereas General Barr said in the past they were not available?
Well, for a long time, we've had a lot of drugs coming into our country, and it's not that it's increased. We've probably got it down a little bit, but it's still a tremendous number.
So first of all, it's simply a matter of prioritization. The president's given us very clear guidance on what's...
This is Mark Esper, Secretary of Defense.
...important to him and protecting the American people.
It'll also have an impact on the virus because we have people trying to get in. So not only drugs, but now we have a new phenomena, and that's at least for the next... hopefully short period of time, the virus, so we'll be able to have an impact on that too, please.
When I heard, just like you said, Jeff Gonzalez, I heard Mark Milley say that, I thought, where did that come from? I was not expecting that at all.
And I'm going to say 12 other countries are out there with our Navy taking out these cartels. But people have to realize that The cartels are the ones here in the United States and abroad are the ones who are kidnapping kids, not only here in America but in other countries, and they're selling them, and it's for that drug. Trust me when I say it's actually happening. And for Donald Trump to come out with a couple of his generals and pretty much saying what they were doing in the Atlantic or the Caribbean with all these these countries out there that are involved in this stuff, I was like, wow, it is actually happening. But you have to read between the lines, though. You can't come out and say right now that we're going after the pedophilia and all the people involved and the drugs and the adrenochrome. He can't say that right now. Because if he were to say that, people would they make fun of him as it is right now. Oh my God, the media would have a fun time just going at him because of this adrenochrome stuff.
Oh my God, yes.
It's all part of the big plan. Okay, it's all part of the and what I have told people is the people who have been screaming the loudest at Trump for the past 3 or 4 years now are the ones that have something to hide. And this goes towards politicians. This goes towards actors and actresses, musicians, the people who have come out angrily accusing Trump of this and that and calling him names, and especially a lot of these late night talk show hosts like Kimmel and these other whack jobs. They're all part of that club. Now, since this shelter in place became, I don't want to say law, but became in effect for all of our states in America, people are now at their homes. Okay, I think Trump took advantage of all of that, and the way things are happening right now, from what my sources are saying and what David Rodriguez, the boxer, said last week on my show or 2 weeks ago on my show, is that they're going in and they are arresting the elite actors and actresses and rock stars. But what's happening, though, is from what I understand, and I'm going to talk about one person or two people right now, and that is Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, Tom Hanks' wife. From what I understand, and confidence is extremely high on this, is that they have already been arrested and they are at Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo. And I for the longest time I was wondering, okay, why were they the first ones to be arrested? Why are they there? I thought this is Gitmo is military. Why are regular citizens of America, what are they doing there? Well, supposedly, and again, when this finally comes out, BZ, there's going to be riots. There's going to be people committing suicide. There are people who are not going to know how to handle this. And I'm talking about the people who have been watching their favorite actor or actresses for years. When they finally realize what, example, Madonna or Tom Hanks or Oprah Winfrey or Ellen DeGeneres have been doing the past 30 years, they're not going to believe it.
Well, it can't be Tom Hanks. Everyone loves Tom Hanks. He's Mr. Rogers.
I love Tom Hanks. I've watched all of his movies, Forrest Gump, Castaway, That Thing You Do. I mean, what can't you not like about the man? Until I found out what he was doing and what he was part of. And that knocked the wind out of me.
I'm reading from ScienceDirect.com. So, folks, if you don't believe that something like adrenochrome exists, here's a précis called The Effect of Adrenochrome and Adrenoleutin on the Behavior of Animals and the Psychology of Man. Publisher summary. This chapter describes the activity of adrenochrome and some of its derived compounds. The effect of adrenochrome is considered first upon simple systems, then more complex systems, then simple animals, then a complex animal, then man. Chemically, adrenochrome and adrenoleutin are very reactive substances. Some of the changes produced by adrenochrome may persist several days, and in some cases, the effects lead to sometimes disastrous results. 2 cases of prolonged reactions are discussed. There's also discussion regarding the reaction that lasted more than a day after a single administration. Some people believe that this occurs in doses that don't heighten the liability or the lability of basic processes, do not reduce excitation, and are similar in function to cases of LSD. Adrenochrome exists.
But it doesn't say where adrenochrome. It says man, doesn't it? You said at the very end. It comes from human as well, correct?
It says chemically, adrenochrome and adrenoleutin are very reactive substances, but it does not, in this one, it does not go into the chemical of this. Now I'm looking at another one, adrenochrome chemical compound. It's a chemical compound with a molecular formula of C2H2NO produced by the oxidation of adrenaline.
There you go. There it is right there. And obviously they're not going to tell you exactly how it's extracted. I mean, there's no way they're going to tell you that. But it's real. And this has been going on for centuries. Now, again, whether you like Donald Trump or not, I believe he's the person for the job, for the right job, and he's here basically to clean house. What I'm afraid of, though, is when all this comes out, it is probably going to initiate a response. And that response is going to be all hell on planet Earth, especially here in America.
Well, it's like you said, people don't want to believe in evil. Evil exists. I've seen it. I've looked into its face. Evil fired at me. I've been fired at by evil many times. It does exist.
People, though, when they realize that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, somebody that they despise, somebody that they did not vote for, has taken away their pride and joy in music, on TV, in theaters. How do you think these people are going to handle it? They are not. They are going to blow up. They are going to go out to the streets. They are going to cause chaos, because whatever the Trump administration, military, whoever, the evidence, whatever they decide to show people or give the people knowledge of what has been really going on, they are not going to believe it. They are not going to believe it. Whether you show them a picture of Hillary Clinton murdering a child, they're going to think it's Photoshop or CGI or computer animated. They're not going to believe it. And that's when hell is going to break loose here in America. And trust me when I say that is going to happen, because how there's just no way people are going to accept. And people that I'm talking about also include Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and people who have been to Epstein's Island on the flight log on this airplane. Okay, we're talking people that we have been following for years. There's just no way the left, the Democrats, the people who won't accept the truth, they're not gonna be able to accept this, and it's going to be all out war. I can tell you right now, and I think the Trump administration with the military are preparing for this. because it's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to be able to handle it, but man, let me tell you, 3 weeks ago, I had really good sources telling me when we went on the 14-day shelter in place that we were going to go to martial law. I mean, confidence was so high that I actually said it on my show because of where it was coming from. And it didn't happen. So something must have happened in those 2 weeks for us not to go to martial law. And I don't know at this point what it was. Now, a lot of people are upset at me because, I said that was going to happen. I told people to go and prepare 2 weeks worth of food because I mean, confidence on me was 99.9% that it was going to happen. And I think this martial law is still going to happen at a later date because of what people are going to find out that President Trump and his administration are doing to Hollywood, to their favorite rock stars, to their favorite sports, whether it's baseball or football, because that's what David Rodriguez said. He said, the people who are being arrested are not just Hollywood, but it's into sports. It's, it's everywhere.
Yeah, celebrities of all stripes.
Yep.
And even Jeffrey Gonzalez. Folks, I'm talking to Jeffrey Gonzalez. He started the Sanger Paranormal Society. Now he runs his show Paranormal Central, which generally you can see every Wednesday at 6:30. You go to his Facebook page, and he's got tons of great stuff to talk about. But even that, Jeffrey Gonzalez, let's push that aside just for a second. The craziness that's going to occur, and I believe when, not if, President Trump is reelected on November 3rd, and it's proven on November 4th that he has acquired a second term, that in and of itself is going to cause leftist brains to explode all across the fruited plain. I call them the LDAM, leftist Democrats and the American media maggots. If you think they exploded in 2016, I don't think you've seen explosions yet. Then add this factor on top. If this gets revealed, you said on your show, Jeffrey Gonzalez, you said on your show, and I loved it when you said this, you said, I'm kind of thrilled to be living during these times. I'm kind of thrilled.
It's freaking exciting. Are you kidding me? It's freaking exciting. It's how do I even explain it? It's taking out, and this is part of the conspiracy as well. I think Donald Trump is doing other things as well that people don't see yet. He is letting, when you said that when Donald Trump wins in November, which I believe he's going to win in another landslide, but right now, Donald Trump is letting people see the real truth on how our government works.
Oh.
He's letting people hang themselves. Uh-oh. What happened?
I do that on the show when a guest makes a point or I make a point that is absolutely spot on. And what you just said resonates and should resonate with everyone. Number one, when the Democrats are accusing people of something, conservatives, what that means is it's translated to that's exactly what they're doing. Plus, just as you said, Jeffrey Gonzalez, when all of these things occur, and these are being revealed, and yet still, this is the tip of the iceberg in terms of revelations. Think of this, folks. How many things we would not have been aware of had Hillary Clinton been elected? We wouldn't know about Mueller. We wouldn't know more about the deep state. People would just keep motoring on along, and you would be like a mushroom planted and grown in shit. And it would still continue to this day. the American public would continue to be mushroomed. The revelations that have been made and brought to light by Donald Trump is another reason, as Kurt Schlichter said when I had him on the show, they hate you. They hate conservatives. They hate people that bring the truth to the surface, like you.
You know what I believe is happening, though, right now? And I believe, like when you rang the bell for a reason, Donald Trump is letting the left, letting the Democrats, letting these people hang themselves. You know, you can't tell the people the truth. You have to show them. You have to show them. So he's letting Gavin Newsom, he's letting Cuomo, he's letting all of these states that are run by Democratic governors who are willing to keep the businesses closed another freaking month for no reason. The people are now saying, what the frack are you doing?
It's fun.
And that goes for Dr. Fauci. That goes for Dr. Birx, the CDC. He's just saying, go tell people what is going on. And he's letting them talk. And they're burying themselves. You know, Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx from the CDC came out with a model that this fucking coronavirus was going to kill 2 million people. We must shelter in place now. Only 37,000 people have died so far here in America from the coronavirus. They completely lied their ass off. People now see that. People are losing their businesses. Yes. And they're looking. They're not blaming Trump because Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx were the ones who initiated this plan. Now, going back to the governors of California, Gavin Newsom, you know, people are now protesting. You know, he closed the beaches. Why? Are you freaking kidding me? You know, so people are now realizing who in the hell did we numb or get into governor? And that's what, and I believe things are going to turn around. Maybe not all of these states are going to go red, but Oregon, New Mexico, Chicago, New York, California, you know, all happen to be sanctuary cities run by Democratic governors, but they're saying stuff that doesn't make any sense. And the people are listening to what these governors are saying, and they're going, what are you talking about? How can we live for another month without running our business? We're going to lose everything. And it's like the governors don't care. But guess what? The people are noticing that the governors don't care.
And the people are noticing that the governors and people, I don't know too many Republicans, there are a few, but the ones that are protesting the protesters, those are people that are massive leftists. Those are people who are massive hypocrites. Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago. It's okay for her to go get her hair done, but it's not okay for you. Mayor de Blasio to go walking around in a park. It's okay for him to go to a gym, but it's not okay for you because they're your superiors. They're better than you are. And it's funny you should mention that. Alan Thomas was in chat and he said, yeah, he just has to, he's letting them hang themselves. And that's exactly what you just said.
Yeah,
he's letting them hang themselves.
That's exactly what he's doing. And he knows how to play the game. Donald Trump knows how to play the game. Whether you like him or not, he's a son of a bitch. But let me tell you, he knows how to play the game because he's from New York. So he's keeping his mouth shut, and he's letting all these jerk-offs just screw themselves. And I'm loving it.
As we used to say with our association president, this dude is a prick, but he's our prick.
Man, I tell you, it's the greatest time to be alive. It is because I'm watching all this unfold in front of my eyes, and everything that I have been saying for the past 7 years is coming true.
It's coming to fruition before our very eyes right now.
It's coming. It is. And, you know, the people who have been watching me back then to now text me and go, Jeff, you are freaking right. Oh, my God. It's incredible. And sometimes I'm scared to talk about this stuff. But you know what? I'm not the only one. If it was just me, I'd probably be 6 feet under. But it's like there's a lot of us now. So they can't take us all out.
They've done what they didn't want to do. The more they push, the more they're going to get pushback. And that is proper. That is exactly proper. So maybe it's time to ask this question. Like me, Jeffrey Gonzalez, you're a big liberty guy. And right now we are watching a good deal of our freedoms fly away. And people say that liberty and security are like weights on a scale. And it's a tough act to balance. You can have great amounts of freedom and less security, or you can have massive amounts of security, but little freedom. In terms of that scale, where do you think the country is right now? Are we tilting towards security? Are we tilting towards freedom?
Freedom right now is they're taking it away from us.
Yes.
Yes. But I think it's part of the plan. Again, I think Trump is allowing this to happen for us to see the real, the people who are in charge, the real them.
Yep.
Okay. And as far as security goes, I believe our security is where it should be, with the wall in place, with our military back up to where it should be now. I mean, back in the other administrations, they took money away from our military. We had nothing. Our military was just downgraded so bad. That's one thing I loved about Trump when he came into office. He spent billions and billions of dollars and gave the military whatever they needed. So as far as security goes, I'm content with that. The freedom part, I think once all of this, I think by the second term in November, I think everything is going to change 180. I think people are going to realize what really has been going on, and I think they're going to step back a little bit from Donald Trump. The media itself are starting to back away just a little bit, only because the truth is coming out. And a lot of this media is involved in the pedophilia and all of this as well. So that's one of the reasons why they've been going after Trump big time. Like Anderson Cooper, he's heavily into all this kind of stuff, and not mentioning a lot of these other anchors as well. But they're all saying that they can't get rid of Trump.
No,
they cannot get rid of him. They've tried everything. They tried impeachment. They tried their fake Russia collusion. They tried everything. They tried getting women to come and say that he's, molested them and porn stars, this and that, which blows me away because Donald Trump is a germaphobe.
He is a major germaphobe. So
okay.
I have a copy of the dossier behind me in a big pile of paper right here. When I read in the dossier that he was rolling around in sheets with piss on them, come on. Do you not know anything about this, dude? And the answer is no, they don't. I think this is wonderful. I think this is a demolition of their own creation, the likes of which they have no idea what's coming or brewing. And it's on every level, Jeff. It's on every level. When you have the New York Post coming out in an op-ed saying that they don't think Joe Biden should be in the running for president, you're losing. You're losing.
Yeah. Who do you say? I don't think Joe Biden's going to make it another 2 months, probably another month.
No, he has dementia. So, I feel sorry for the guy. I feel sorry that he's being used so cravenly and so abjectly. He is a pawn. He's an unwitting pawn, and that is really sad. But that emphasizes how low the Democrats will go to get what they perceive is their way. It's their time.
Who do you think is going to take his place?
I still think, we got a guy in chat right now named Jack Alexander. He's a dude I talked to from Australia, and I have him on the show. He thinks Hillary Clinton is waiting in the wings.
With Barack as vice?
Maybe. But here's the other thing. Even if Joe Biden, Jeffrey Gonzalez, even if Joe Biden is still installed and they support him for whatever reason, what female is going to want to run with him as VP on his ticket? Answer, none of them.
Right. No, I'm gonna go ahead and predict something.
Okay.
That he's going to either have a heart attack or a stroke, and they're going to take him out. They're going to take him out.
Do you think it's real, or do you think it will be?
No. He's real, and I'll tell you why it's going to be real. Because of the China connection, of the money involved, he knows so much. He knows where the bodies are buried. All right, so they need to take him out, and I think they're going to somehow, with probably the heart attack gun or whatever they have, they're going to take him out, and he's not going to last another 2 months. I guarantee it. But the question is, who's going to come in and take his place now? Hillary Clinton and Obama, they have to go in there and try to take Trump out. This is the last chance they have, because Obama and the Clinton and Hillary Clinton are guilty as hell for treason, for trying to do a coup d'etat against the President of the United States.
I said from 2017. That's for 3 years. I've said this is, before it was cool to say, I said this is a soft coup against a presidential nominee, a president-elect, and a sitting president. It's no more than that. And the other reason that they can't afford to have him take a second term is the investigations are ongoing. Right. We're seeing many revelations about General Flynn that Donald Trump predicted over a couple of years ago, when we're seeing that these things that he's saying are coming to fruition. They can't have that.
He's going to be exonerated. The media is asking, are you going to pardon Flynn? Why? He'll be exonerated. He's not guilty, period. But they have to. This is the last resort. I mean, to be honest, I believe Donald Trump and the administration has Hillary Clinton's 33,000 emails. They know that Benghazi was a setup. Obama was in charge of the fake Russia collusion investigation. He gave them the orders to, and that's before and after he became president, Trump became president, gave them the authority to go in and spy, to pull up all of this crap. They are so in deep in poo. Obama and Hillary Clinton.
And why? They're fighting like a cornered dog. They're fighting like a cornered dog because they have no other alternative. There is no other choice. They have cornered themselves, purposely or not. But they're in the corner, which means that dogs that are cornered like that are some of the most dangerous animals you'll ever encounter, and they will do or say anything.
Donald Trump has mentioned the word treason several times.
Yes.
Tweeting, treason. And if you look up the word treason, you can be put to death for treason. And I totally agree on execution. If Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Rosenstein, all these guys, if they are found guilty of treason, they should be executed. No doubt in my mind. So that way, this will never happen in America again, as far as trying to bring down an existing president, whether he's Republican or Democrat. If Hillary Clinton is found that she was involved in the treason, execute her. Same goes for Obama.
Those are strong words. But
I don't care. I don't care.
But they come in basis of fact and evidence, and that's the direction that this is going, and that's the criticality, the weight that is placed on the Democrats not to lose. If they this is literally for all the marbles, all of them.
Yes.
Right now, this year.
Yes, why do you think they have tried everything to get rid of Trump? They've tried everything because they know they are all guilty of treason, of espionage, of dealing with other countries, with Russia, Uranium One, China, secret deals. They're all involved. And Trump knows it. And Trump has the evidence. And they're putting together everything right now. If they haven't already given indictment papers to Brennan and Clapper and Comey. Because I heard that was going to happen this week. I heard it was going to be boom week this week. I haven't seen or heard anything yet, but it's all coming. It's all happening, man. These people will be found guilty because the evidence is overwhelming.
See, it's like this when you work somebody, and it's exactly how the FBI worked Michael Flynn is how I recommend Barr and the other guy whose name escapes me to work all these other people, including Comey. Just once these assholes understand, once you can get one guy, all you need is the chink in the armor. All you need is the one weak link. Once you have one guy roll, they're all going to be shitting their pants to do a deal.
Yep.
Guaranteed. You just got to find that one guy. You find that one guy.
Which I'm pretty sure they already found. Trust me, I think they already found that one person who basically is singing like a canary.
Alaska in the chat says Durham. Yes, you're right. It is Durham. And we haven't even gotten to the revelations about General Flynn, the FBI, the dossier, the FISA court, more on the deep state. Jeffrey Gonzalez, couldn't we say it's a war for the soul of our country and actually for the soul of its citizens?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why when this all goes down, there has to be consequences. And these people who were involved, because they put me through hell for the past 3 or 4 years. They put our country through hell. And there has to be a price to pay for that.
There absolutely must be. You know, people used to come to me. I don't know about you. I'm hoping you'll tell me in just a moment. I lost actually a friend. I have lost a ton of acquaintances over I am absolutely resolutely against any form of bipartisanship or compromise with the people on the left. It's late at night. It's 1 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 10 o'clock on the left coast in the Pacific. Fuck the Democrats. I'm not taking this. There should be no more bipartisanship, no more compromise. It is for all the marbles. And the leftists, the Democrats, and the American media maggots are going to do everything they can. Jeffrey Gonzalez, the final question. I don't know your religious bent. You said you're Catholic. But let me ask an odd, if maybe a fitting question. I've talked to Alan about this too. We know that for whatever reason, Fresno happens to be kind of this odd spot in California, always spell it with a K, where any number of unexplained events occur. So I'm guessing if any location would kind of reflect this, or a person would know about this, it might be you. And right now you might be going, Are we seeing, Jeffrey Gonzalez, are we seeing a confluence of events where a whole bunch of aspects of our lives are being merged into this big swirling maelstrom? What I mean by that is, along with this pandemic, social upheaval, the deep state, Trump, adrenochrome, all of it taken in totality. I am also really curious if you're noticing any kind of an uptick in like paranormal activity, UFO activity, Sasquatch activity, unexplained activity. Are these running kind of hand in hand? Real curious about that.
Good question. Being that we're quarantined, we can't not go out and look for the big guy. I mean, in about a couple of weeks, we're going out. But last week, the United States government, Pentagon, released videos of flying saucers and said they are not ours. We don't know who they belong to. And it's like nobody is talking about it. What they pretty much said is that we're being visited. That's what these videos are.
Yes.
There is no end up. I mean, people are not talking about this. They released the videos, and they pretty much said, we do not know what these things are. And our government to say that is telling me they're not from around here.
No.
Therefore, we're not alone. But see how they threw that in with all of this virus stuff and all of this politics stuff because they wanted to hide it. It's disclosure, sort of, kind of.
It's a startling revelation. It's an admission. It's an actual admission by the U.S. government that, it really is a UFO. We don't know what the hell it is. Which ought to be scary because if you don't know what it is, you can't defend against it.
So, my wife told me that we're waking up. We're going into a different realm, a different dimension. We're starting to open up. We're starting to see the truth.
Yep.
Even David Rodriguez even said that as well in his video. He says we're going into a different realm of thought, of visions, of the way we see things. Even Donald Trump has hinted of cures that he has. I mean, for those who don't know, our government, the elites, the New World Order, they all have the cures for all diseases. Cancer, I don't care what it is. There are cures for it. For the coronavirus, the hint that Donald Trump was giving out during the past couple of press conferences with that stupid comment that everybody took out of context of people are you wanting people to Lysol the inside of the lungs? Okay, you remember that stupid comment that actually he didn't say that.
No, he didn't. Taken completely out of context.
Exactly.
But you found out, I'm sure, Jeffrey Gonzalez, that there are tests being conducted right now with alternate light sources for that exact same thing. Funny how that works out.
Because he knew that there are cures out there. He knows. And you know what even to really spike this up and throw the conspiracy in it, Donald Trump's uncle, his relatives in the past, knew Tesla. Donald Trump's uncle knew Tesla very well, that he retrieved all of his paperwork.
And there are 12 trunks missing of Tesla paperwork.
And Tesla invented the ultraviolet light. Okay? This is not a coincidence that he's bringing up. Did you know Donald Trump? Everybody makes fun of his color, his tanning, his orange. They call him the orange man, whatever. He gets into a tanning booth every morning before he goes to work.
Yeah, and that would readily explain the white around his eyes, folks.
Yes,
wouldn't it?
But you have to understand, he's a germaphobe. So maybe these ultraviolet lights that he's using in the tanning bed is for another reason. It's to kill the germs on his body or in his body. You see, he knows. The man knows because he has all of the secrets, and he's going to reveal them little by little. And he is based, and that's what he did when he asked the question about bringing ultraviolet light into the lungs, because damn it, it actually kills the virus. It kills viruses. So at that point in time, when he said that, there was already several companies here in America already testing that idea because he knows. The dude is, trust me, when he becomes president again for the next 4 years, there are going to be cures for certain illnesses. And don't be surprised if cancer is one of them.
Well, look,
I have a strong feeling.
Look what we've happened to do, what we've managed to do in a short time. I personally believe a lot of this stuff has to do with just trying to eliminate Donald John Trump. But I go back to what you said earlier. and I've been saying for quite some time. He turns out to be correct most every time. Suggesting hydroxychloroquine as a combating agent for the virus turned out to be true, 90% efficacy. Now he mentions remdesivir. Turns out that that's a lot cheaper and kind of on the order of hydroxychloroquine. What he says tends to come true.
Yep. The world makes fun of him. But when whenever he says comes out to be true, it happens every time. It happens every single time. It's not by accident. It's by purpose. And it's just, it's fun to see. It's fun to watch. Man.
It is. These are exciting times. They really are. And I agree with you when you say that. Of course, I lied to you. I said that was my last question. I actually have one more question that I didn't ask, and that's this. I lost friends and acquaintances, and I've noticed that you've gone from a paranormal show, UFO show, Sasquatch show, unexplained show, and you've rolled over to politics. Have you lost people, friends, acquaintances, etc., when you kind of left your arena and you went over into the world of politics? Are you dancing on the head of a pin?
Yes, I did lose a lot of people, but right now I really can't talk about the paranormal because I'm an investigator and I can't go out and investigate just because we're in shelter. We're in quarantine. All right, so I have to talk about something, but yet the conspiracy when I talk about the adrenochrome and the pedophilia, all that is conspiracy stuff, and it involves politics a little bit. People. I do it in a way where I keep them entertained because I am able to show them the stuff that I talk about. And and that's one of the reasons why people stick around still, because it's hard to talk about the stuff that I talk about without showing some type of proof. And I can with my show. Which I'm glad I can because, I would never be able to convince people. But people who have been watching me for years have seen the stuff that I've been talking about is coming true, man.
See, you are like me in terms of you are a driven guy. You have a message. You want to get it out. You do your show prep. You do your show. It's professionally done, but there's something that lives large within you that you got to get this out. You got to get this out into the public venue, and with that I sympathize because I feel the exact same way. I also agree when you say, you know what, there is something major coming. There is something cataclysmic coming. As you said in your last show, for example, you don't know exactly what it is, but you know what? Our spidey sense is tingling, isn't it?
It's coming. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I told my followers, my fans, to have at least 2 to 3 weeks of food stocked up.
Yep.
Because I feel it, man. I don't know what it is, but I feel it. And I don't know if it's a major catastrophe, a major disaster, a major false flag by the deep state, which scares me because I still believe that might happen. But when this virus hit, I told everybody right at the same time when the indictments come out, when they started arresting the perpetrators who were involved in the fake Russia collusion, the FISA documents, all of that the deep state was going to initiate some type of false flag. And sure as hell, that's when the virus hit and knocked everything out of the limelight when it came to, Comey and Mueller and all those guys. Do I believe the deep state had something to do with this virus? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is a major, major false flag. And the deep state was totally involved.
We already know. It's been proven. I said, God, I'm going to have to stop this because we have gone on for over 2 hours. But I said, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the dude is 78 years old. I would love to do a forensic analysis of every account that he has and find out who is paying this guy. He's the guy that also advocated $3.7 million to the Wuhan lab.
Yep.
He's connected to the Gates Foundation. He's connected to the World Health Order. The same World Health Organization now that says that instead of embracing the Chinese model, it's embracing the Swedish model. Well, wait a minute. The World Health Organization is that organization that leftists love. Now they're saying we need to emulate Sweden, and the rest of the governors and the mayors in the United States are saying basically, oh, now they hate the World Health Order because it's not... Do you see how this all fits together, folks?
Oh, man. It's Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the guy you want to stay away from. Bill Gates has his hand in it, and he's the one who's paying Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx to say all of these things. Bill Gates wants to come up with a vaccine to vaccinate everybody. I don't know if it's purposely for... To get rid of people, to knock down the population, I don't know.
And chipping. Because you can simultaneously vaccinate and chip at the same time. Hey, before we leave, Jeffrey Gonzalez, damn it, where is it? I was going to play this. Now, if I can just find it. I don't know if you heard this, and I'm going to have to turn it up a little bit. This is a hot mic that was on just before a Trump coronavirus press briefing. And it's between a guy that's a photographer wearing a mask and John Roberts from Fox News.
Yes, I heard that. I'll tell you that on my show. Go ahead.
And there's a hot mic, and they're talking about the V word. Folks, listen to this and tell me what you hear.
What's up, Johnny? All right, man. What do you know, baby? You can take out the mask, Doug. The case fatality rate's like 0.1 to 0.3 according to USC. Is it really? That's reassuring. USC. Everybody here's been vaccinated anyway. USC and LA County Public Health come out with a study.
Okay, folks, did you hear what he said? Let me play that again. This is the photographer saying this.
Is it really? That's reassuring. USC. Everybody here's been vaccinated anyway. USC.
Everybody here has been vaccinated anyway.
Yep.
Now, doesn't that lead you, folks, to perhaps conclude, if you're a thinking bipedal individual, that maybe there's a vaccine out there? Otherwise, why would that guy say that?
Right? Yeah. I mean, that was pretty much obvious on what he was implying.
Never stop asking questions, folks. Never stop asking questions.
The things that come out of my mouth might sound so ridiculous, but at the end, there's evidence to back up everything we said tonight. Everything. And that's scary.
Yeah.
Really scary.
I played a 10-minute video. I don't know if you've played this one yet, of the gal that's in contact with the nurse and the conditions in New York hospitals and how people are being left to die. It's a 10-minute, it's startling, revelatory video. I played it last Thursday night, and it was heartbreaking. But you don't hear that. Nope. You don't hear that, folks. This is why you need to listen to Jeff's show. So, Jeffrey Gonzalez, please tell people again about your show, when it can be seen, and where it can be seen.
Best thing to do is go to my website, ParanormalCentral.net. ParanormalCentral.net. I have a YouTube account, Paranormal Central. I go live 6:30 on Wednesday nights, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time actually I have 4 Facebook walls. My Paranormal Central like page and my personal Jeffrey Gonzalez one. I'll go live on Wednesdays at 6:30. Right afterwards, I will place it on my YouTube channel. But if you want more information, just go to my website at ParanormalCentral.net. On my homepage at the website, I have an app that you can download for your Android or your iPhone, and it's free. So when I go live, I'll post it on there, and it'll send you a message via app, and then that way you'll know when I go live, and it's free. So
that is a way, way cool thing. Wednesdays, and then listen, subscribe to the app, and then because Jeff can decide at the drop of a hat when something new comes in that he wants everybody to know about, he'll pop off that day. But at least you'll know the show is coming, he'll give you the time, and you go there and you listen to it.
That's it.
Jeffrey Gonzalez, thank you ever so kindly for being here tonight. I can only leave you with one final question. God, I lied to you again. I have another question. Jesus. When will it end? Michelangelo, when will you make an end? Will you come back to the show sometime?
Whenever you want me, just give me a holler. I'll come on.
Okay. Perfect. Folks, thanks to Jeffrey Gonzalez for being here. Paranormal Central. Watch his show. When you go to his YouTube page, follow it, like it, hit the notification, hit the bell so that, when he posts on YouTube that you can see the full show if you happen to miss it. Watch him live on Facebook. Again, sir, thank you kindly, very, very kindly for being here tonight. And
thank you.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
That's what it is.
It felt like only 40 minutes.
I know. And see, here's the other thing, very, very bad or good of me. I didn't want to tell you how long we'd been on here.
It doesn't matter to me. I was having a blast. Are you kidding? I love talking about this stuff. Man. Are you kidding me? I live for this stuff.
Oh, God. All right. Thank you ever so kindly. Folks, thanks for listening, too. Jeffrey, thank you, sir.
All right, man. So until next time, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care.
God bless. Take care and be safe, sir. Phew. Wow. I had a good time. I hope you did, too. Huh?
Monsieur!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. You want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, at BZEP. I am very active on Twitter. Not so much on Facebook. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. Plus the Pratt & Whitney Engine Company Thrust. You can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with who I will be consorting in less than an hour. You can bank on that one. Thanks ever so kindly to everybody for listening live. Thanks to Jeffrey Gonzalez. 2 hours and 20 minutes. Woohoo! Thanks to everybody for being in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. I got a lot of hits in podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here, for taking the time out of your busy day and night to do so. I'll be back Thursday night. I think I'm going to have a special guest in the second hour. I wonder who that'll be. God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.